Ever look at a population map of the US and go, wait, where is everybody? Sure, the coasts are packed, LA, New York, Miami, you name it. But then you've got these massive areas in the middle where it's basically just cows and mountains. Some states are so empty you could drive for hours without passing another car. There are counties out there with fewer people than an apartment building in Brooklyn. So, what's the deal? Why aren't more people living in these gorgeous, wide-open spots? Yeah, winter can get brutal and things are kind of far apart, but that's not the whole story. A lot of these places are caught in this perfect storm of slow economies, not great job options, and limited stuff like schools, hospitals, or even reliable Wi-Fi. For most folks, it's just not where they want to settle down. Take Alaska, absolutely stunning, but super isolated. Or Wyoming, where things boom when oil prices are up and bust when they're not. Then you've got North Dakota's windy nothingness and little Maine towns where the younger crowd keeps moving away. Some of these states are actually shrinking in population every year. Others never really filled up to begin with. In this video, we're taking a road trip through 6 of the loneliest places in America. We'll break down what makes them so empty and why, even though they're beautiful, most people would rather visit than move in. Stick around. You might be surprised by what keeps these places quiet. Number 1. Alaska. Alaska is wild, like really wild. It's basically America's last massive frontier. Totally jaw-dropping nature everywhere you look, but almost nobody lives there. This place is enormous. We're talking big enough to fit Texas twice and still have room left over. But here's the kicker. Despite all that space, Alaska has fewer people than the city of Columbus, Ohio. We're talking about 1 person per square mile, and sometimes even less than that in certain areas. So, what gives? Why is the biggest state also the emptiest? It all starts with the weather. Winter in Alaska isn't just cold, it's brutal and unforgiving. In the far north, temperature can nosedive to minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not bundle-up cold. That's your eyelashes might freeze kind of cold. And don't even get me started on the daylight situation. In the winter, it's pitch black for weeks. Then in the summer, you'll get sunshine at midnight. Sounds cool until your sleep schedule is wrecked and your brain doesn't know what time it is. A lot of people up there struggle with seasonal depression or just constant low energy. Now, getting around? That's its own adventure. Most towns aren't connected by road at all. You've got tiny bush planes flying people in and out with groceries, medicine, mail, you name it. That gallon of milk you take for granted, it might cost you 10 bucks. Gas? Easily $5 a gallon or more. Sure, the average income in Alaska is around $75,000, but once you factor in heating bills, food, and transportation, your money disappears real fast. And then there's the job market. A ton of jobs are tied to industries like oil, fishing, and tourism. So when the price of oil drops or the tourists leave, jobs vanish. And day-to-day life isn't exactly easy. Bears in the campground, moose crossing the road like they own the place. It's a whole vibe. Still, there's something about Alaska that keeps drawing people in. The northern lights, massive glaciers, untouched wilderness, it's pure magic. Over 2 million people visit every year just to experience it. But actually living there full-time? That's a whole different challenge. Most people love the idea of Alaska, but only a rare few are built for the reality. Number 2. Wyoming. Wyoming is straight up the Wild West in real life. Think endless skies, cowboy vibes, and landscapes so epic they literally sparked the whole national park movement. But here's the wild part. Even with all that space and beauty, barely anyone lives here. The entire state has around 580,000 people. That's less than Denver. Seriously, you could drive for hours through open plains past towering mountains and not see another soul. Just you and the horizon. So what gives? Why doesn't anyone move here? A lot of it comes down to the economy. It's basically a roller coaster. Wyoming leans heavy on coal, oil, and natural gas. So when prices drop, so do the jobs. One day, everything's booming, the next day it's crickets. The average income sits around $64,000, which sounds all right. But if you're not working in energy or ranching, job options get real thin. Even in Cheyenne, the biggest city, it still feels more like a small town with a few stoplights than a bustling capital. Then there's the weather, which goes to extremes. Winters? Brutal. We're talking sub-zero temps and snowstorms that can literally shut down entire towns for days. And summer? Yeah, it gets hot, like over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, but only for a little while, so most homes don't even bother with air conditioning. You basically go from freezing to frying, with not much in between. Another issue? It's super isolated. Public transport? Forget it. And if you don't have a car, you're kinda stuck. There's not a single major interstate that cuts across the state, so getting around can be a real mission. Sure, tourists flood in every year to see Yellowstone and the Tetons, but they don't stick around. And it makes sense. Wyoming's an absolute dream for people who love peace, nature, and being off the grid. But for the average person trying to build a career or find a social scene, it's tough. Living here takes a special kind of person. Someone who's okay with wild weather, remote towns, and a whole lot of silence. That's why most people come to visit, but very few stay. Number 3. Montana. Montana's called Big Sky Country. For a reason, this place is massive. Think jaw-dropping views, huge mountain ranges, and skies so wide open it feels like you're standing on the edge of the world. Nature totally takes center stage here. You've got untouched wilderness, crystal clear rivers, and scenery straight out of a postcard. But even with all that beauty, barely over 1 million people live here. That's less than the population of Dallas, spread out over a state bigger than Germany. You could cruise down a highway for hours and not pass a single car. So why aren't people flocking to this outdoor paradise? Well, for starters, the job market's kinda rough. Sure, Montana's got agriculture, tourism, and some mining, but none of those really bring in steady, high-paying gigs for most folks. The average income sits around $60,000, which sounds okay until you realize the cost of living's creeping up and good jobs are hard to come by, especially outside cities like Billings or Missoula. That's why a lot of younger people bounce out of the state. They just don't see a future here. And don't even get us started on the weather. Winters are no joke. Freezing temps, non-stop snow, and blizzards that'll have you stuck inside for days. Then summer rolls around and wildfires take over, filling the skies with smoke for weeks. Want to go hiking? Cool. But don't forget your bear spray. Montana's got more grizzlies than anywhere else in the lower 48. Housing might seem affordable at first glance, with a median price around $360,000, but a lot of rural spots don't have great internet or even decent cell signal. So if you're dreaming of working remote from a cozy cabin in the woods, that might not work out so well. Millions of people visit Montana every year to soak up the beauty, but actually living here? That's a whole different story. If you're into peace, quiet, and wild landscapes, it's heaven. But if you need reliable work, modern comforts, or just want to avoid freezing your face off half the year, Big Sky Country might be more of a vacation spot than a forever home. Number 4. North Dakota. North Dakota is the kind of place where you could literally stand in the middle of the highway and not see another car for miles. And no, that's not an exaggeration. It's just that empty. In 2025, the whole state barely has 780,000 people. That's like stuffing the entire population of North Dakota into a couple of New York City neighborhoods. What's left? Endless prairies, freezing weather, and towns so small you blink and miss them. So what keeps people from packing up and moving here? First up, the weather. Winter here doesn't mess around. We're talking minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit kind of cold, with winds that cut right through you and blizzards that shut everything down for days. Roads disappear, schools close, and you basically just hunker down and hope your power stays on. Summer shows up eventually, but it's short. And just when you think it's safe to go outside, you get swarmed by mosquitoes the size of small birds. Okay, maybe not that big, but close. Now let's talk jobs. North Dakota had its moment with the oil boom in the Bakken shale fields. For a minute, the state was booming. Then oil prices dropped, and so did the job market. These days, it's mostly farming, ranching, and more farming. Sunflowers, wheat, cattle. If you're not into agriculture or don't have connections in oil, it's slim pickings. Fargo's the biggest city and it still feels like a small town, with under 130,000 people and not a whole lot going on. Yeah, housing is cheap, about $260,000 on average, but that doesn't exactly make up for the lack of restaurants, things to do, or honestly, other people. For someone who wants peace, quiet, and massive skies full of stars, North Dakota's a dream. Clean air, barely any crime, no traffic. What's not to love? But if you're craving culture, nightlife, or just a decent variety of takeout, you're gonna feel the isolation real fast. Number 5. Maine. Maine is one of those places that looks like a postcard. Lobster rolls, rocky coastlines, lighthouses straight out of a movie. But behind the views, it's slowly turning into a ghost town. With just about 1.3 million people, it's one of the least populated states on the East Coast, and outside the touristy spots, a lot of the small towns are just fading. Young folks are packing up and heading out, and you can't really blame them. The main issue? The economy's hanging on by a thread. Tourism is huge, but it's super seasonal. Busy in summer, dead in winter. Fishing, especially lobster, is iconic here, but it's getting harder every year. Stricter rules, shorter seasons, and unpredictable catches mean a lot of people who rely on the ocean are barely scraping by during those long, freezing winters. And yeah, the weather definitely doesn't help. Winters in Maine are intense. We're talking below zero temperatures and monster snowstorms that can shut everything down for days. Heating bills go through the roof, and the growing season for farms is short, so agriculture's limited too. Even though the state has insane natural beauty, like Acadia National Park and those insane fall colors, it's not enough to keep people around full-time. Right now, Maine's population is getting older fast. More people are passing away than being born, and that puts a huge strain on everything from healthcare to local businesses. Some retirees and remote workers are moving in, attracted by the peace, the scenery, and the relatively affordable houses, around $320,000 on average. But without solid, year-round jobs and decent infrastructure, it's hard to keep entire communities going. At the end of the day, Maine's still stunning, but it's becoming the kind of place people want to visit, not live in. And unless something changes, it risks becoming one of those beautiful but empty corners of America that feel more like a memory than a place where real life happens. Number 6. New Hampshire. New Hampshire is kind of weird in the best way. It's always showing up on those best places to live lists, but when you look around, not that many people are actually moving there. With just about 1.4 million people, it's smaller than a single big US city like Phoenix or Philly. So what's going on? Why doesn't this place grow? On paper, New Hampshire looks like a dream. No sales tax, no income tax. Sounds awesome, right? But here's the catch. Property taxes are some of the highest in the country, and housing prices are steep too. The average home is going for $400,000. Then toss in energy costs that are way above the national average, and those cold winters that last forever, and suddenly that tax-free lifestyle isn't saving you much. Jobs are another mixed bag. If you live near the southern border, close to Massachusetts, there's a decent tech scene and some solid job options. But once you get farther out, a lot of the economy still depends on manufacturing and seasonal tourism, which isn't exactly stable or exciting for younger folks trying to build a future. It creates this weird split. Some areas are booming, while others feel kind of stuck in time. And let's talk weather. Sure, the mountains and forests are gorgeous, but the winters here are no joke. We're talking sub-zero temps for weeks, followed by a few blink-and-you-miss-it summer days, and then a long, sloppy mud season. It's not for the faint of heart, and it definitely makes daily life more expensive and complicated. So who actually sticks around? Mostly retirees and remote workers who already have money and want peace and quiet. Younger people? A lot of them are heading elsewhere for more opportunity and better weather. At the end of the day, New Hampshire is like that really cool house on Zillow with great photos. But when you check it out in person, you realize it's got some serious downsides. It's beautiful, calm, and super livable if you can afford it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more amazing videos.